All right. Um, I'm just gonna be making this video and be as transparent and myself. This is me. Um, that's why we're doing this. I know it's backwards, but we said it. Take a leap of faith. For me, in my life, I've had to do that plenty of times. In relationships, for work, for friendships, my family, most importantly, myself. And, you know, those people around you are going to either support you, hold you back, distract you, or just accept whatever decision you make, no matter what. That's the people you want to keep around, by the way. But first bullet point here, down on this card, and kind of gives me confidence to make this video. But at the end of the day, no one's opinion will really matter, especially if you make it in life. If you make it in your relationship, you got the best relationship ever. That was perfect for you. You got the best job. You did what, you could. You made it out. You got famous on TikTok. You got famous on Instagram Reels. Your name is known in your profession. You got the house. You got the car. You got the dog. You got the cat. You got the land. And that's when people will see your dream. Like, that's when people will be like, oh, wow, like, she went through all of that and they made it. And during that time, there's gonna be those doubts and those worries that you're gonna have. There's gonna be, oh my gosh, how am I gonna afford this? How am I gonna, tell my family I have to leave? How am I gonna tell my friends, hey, like, I can't go out with y'all this weekend. I can't provide for myself. So how am I gonna provide for someone else? And that leads me on to this next bullet point on here. Take steps when you're uncertain. And that's how I've made the biggest strides in my life. When I think back to, I guess, one of my first experiences of taking a leap of faith is playing soccer growing up. I was not the best player. Okay, I'm humbled to admit that. When I started out, it was my favorite sport. All my friends played on, club teams, and, all I could really, my mom could really afford for me at the time was like playing travel and doing rec. And, I grew into my body, lost weight, developed finally. And then, high school comes around and, being that egoic freshman coming in, starting freshman year for the team, and then sophomore year comes around, start for junior varsity, and then, it's my junior year, and, I think I got a free sale to varsity, and reality hit me, and I wasn't ready. And that hit hard. That was probably one of my first times in life where my ego was hurt a lot. And, I took it upon myself to, ask one of my coaches from, youth league and club. And when I eventually was able to play club, I told him, I was like, hey, I'm so disappointed. And God bless his soul too. Fortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. But um yeah, like I was like, hey, like I want to change. And I didn't think I was going to do it. I didn't think I was going to achieve what I wanted to do. um I was out of shape, technically still kind of there, but could be better. And long story short, I lost a bunch of weight, got fit, leanest I ever was in my life, played, started for the whole year, and had a really good year, even though it was COVID, but made the best out of it. But the thing is I had the doubts, I had the worries, I had um, uncertainty. And fast forward to now, there's been so many things that happen, but for me, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Some of you guys may know, some of you guys don't know me, but and that path as a strength and conditioning coach, you have to make a lot of sacrifice, and those sacrifices are done in times of uncertainty. My first ever internship I had, I was in a time where I had no money. I had a job that I was working. I was unhappy while doing school. I was in college. And I really almost passed up my internship opportunity that has set me up for the future I'm in right now. Because that, I was so worried about money. I was so worried about, oh, I can't do this because I'm not going to work as much. And I didn't realize the dividends was going to pay on later. And, that led me to, making a huge impact at my school. I got put on an alumni spotlight, a senior class spotlight, got posted on the website for the school and everything. That's something that's forever going to be there, and it's cool. And, and then afterwards, didn't really know what I was doing. I was studying for a certification, and I was like, what, I'm just gonna stay home and study for the certification, and then, let's see where life goes. I accepted that. And then another opportunity came my way. Actually, backtrack a little bit. I wanted to do graduate school. I applied to some schools, got some interviews, and the one that I wanted the most, unfortunately, I couldn't get into it because I just didn't have enough experience. And again, my ego thinking, I'm a strength and conditioning intern at a D3 school, and, I got into it as a junior, and then my senior year, I ended up, running the whole program, and I'm like, oh, I got this. Like, this is, I can go into any school. And that just wasn't true. So my world kind of got flipped upside down, and the reality hit. And I took the advice of the coach that I had my final interview with, and he was just like, you know what, I think if you did one other internship, you'd be good. So I applied to an internship, and I got it. And that internship then set me up for where I'm at currently. And already that internship was something I had to move away for. In my state, I had to move 2 hours away. Again, wasn't sure, how am I going to pay for somewhere to live over here? And I'm not going to be getting paid, so like, how am I going to manage my funds and whatever and this and that? But I'm privileged, and I'm blessed enough that I have people that can provide for me, and they held it down. They helped me get to where I needed to be, and that's why I said before, like, that supporting group that you have, that really matters. And then it was done. The internship was done, and I come back home, and I'm like, wow, that was such a great experience. And now, it's, again, going back to that, I need to get this certification. I was studying really hard, and I need to get out and get a job, and and then an opportunity comes my way. And this opportunity would force me to, not force me, but would give me the opportunity to go out in the Midwest and be somewhere that, in the position that I was in, helping me be able to grow like so much more as a professional and learn so much more, and like actually lock down on my studying, because it was on and off. And then, I got my certification eventually, but like in that time, like it was so uncertain. I literally had to make a whole front and back page paper of pros and cons of like me living out over there, like worrying about so many things, like, oh, am I gonna have to get health insurance over there? How am I gonna pay for health insurance? My student loans are about to be coming up soon. How am I gonna pay for my student loans? Like, I'm not gonna be able to work a job because it's gonna be like full-time grad assistant position, and like, all these things. And then again, God willing, like I have people that provide for me, that help me be able to get into this position, because they care about me so much. And you know who you are, and if you're watching this, I love you so much, and thank you. And the people that did support me to go out there and like, be like, hey, like this is a huge opportunity, you need to do this, like thank you for putting me like on a pedestal and showing me that I'm there and like I need to do it. So when you're uncertain, take a leap of faith, okay? And last two bullet points I have here, and I guess it's kind of what I already showed this, but like it's not as drastic as you think the change is. At the end of the day, whatever you choose in that step that you take to go out and do something, it's going to benefit your life no matter what. That's what was in your future. That was what was meant to be. That is what is meant to happen for you. And whether that's a job and other things in this life, in the moment, yeah, it can be so exhausting to like have to have in your subconscious mind, like, yo, like how is this going to work? But it does. And to end this off, like this last I'm gonna have to start doing this backwards, but believe in something. Believe, whether that's religiously, whether that's Jesus, whether that's God for you, whether that's the universe, whether it's just you have that intuition or whatever it may be. You have to believe that there is something outside of your control that is going to set you into the place that you need to be in, whether you like it or not. And whether you feel about it, whether your emotions are telling you no, oh my gosh, like your nervous system's like, oh my gosh, no, we can't do this, we can't do. Yes, you can, because it is meant to happen for you. And even for me, this is like doing something like this is a leap of faith for me, because I don't know where it's gonna go. I could just make this video, and I believe it's gonna attract the people who understand this message, who need to hear this message. And if that's you, thank you for listening. And I know this has been long and it's been a yap session, but this is stuff that we all need to hear. Like in this world, we see, like I'm 23 years old. I see people who they're 19 and they already have $1 million. They got a family. They got a house. They're set. You know what I'm saying? And then that's, although like it looks like that's the majority, it's not. It's not the majority of people out here doing that, bro. We're all finding our way. We're all, struggling and uncertain into what our future is going to look like. However, that will never ever change unless you don't take a leap of faith. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.